The Truth Girls.
Hi everyone, I'd like to do a video about scary clowns. No, I'm not talking about the American election. I'm talking about this now worldwide phenomenon of people dressing up in scary clown costumes, scaring people and now sometimes even attacking them. You know, I've been seeing this coming up in the news, and then I started seeing some videos and articles coming up saying that there might be a connection to the occult, maybe Freemasonry, maybe even John Wayne Gacy. And I've traced it way back to what I believe are the origins of this craze. And so I want to show you what I found, what we have now, how it traces back, what, as far as I can tell, started this, and what this all means. So this is where we're at now, roughly. Killer Clowns Purge Night, October 30th, map of clown sightings in US. Leading up to Halloween, we're having a lot more of these. It's not just in America though, and I'm in Canada by the way, but it's now worldwide. But if you want to see where there have been clown sightings in America, you can check out one of these interactive maps. So let's backtrack a little bit to when this really caught on in America. And I would say this goes back to the first reports of scary clowns trying to lure children into the woods in Greenville, South Carolina. Originally there were two incidents, one on the 20th of August 2016, another on the 29th of August, and police then started to investigate. And it was after this that this became, as they're calling it now online, kind of a worldwide epidemic. There have been cases in the UK, in Denmark, a couple in Canada, New Zealand. Originally, this all started out with people just showing up looking scary. Eventually, they turned into real attacks. Creepy clown attacks teenagers in Rostock, northern Germany. This one happened in the UK, and the attackers were young boys aged 14 to 18. You know, a lot of these people have been, at this point, unmasked. Some have even been arrested, and I've noticed that mostly it's young men, early 20s and under, roughly like between ages of 23 to 14. There's been at least one case where a woman was involved in an attack in Oklahoma. A woman was used to lure another woman who was then attacked by clowns who put out a cigarette on her face and wrote "clown posse" on her face, but mostly it's guys doing it. Mostly they're young, although not always. There was a case in New York where a 53-year-old man was arrested after scaring people on the subway and running after a teenager with a knife. And there was a case in Wisconsin where a couple went with a young man aged 20. The three of them went out to do clown scaring pranks and left their 4-year-old child at home, who was then taken into custody by CPS. Now, this is the first one that I've seen from Russia. Creepy clown attacks car in Russia. Driver's reaction is far from panic. The Russian driver got out and kicked the clown's ass, which doesn't really surprise me because usually when I see videos from Russia on the internet, the people in them are pretty badass, especially when they're driving. Even people have been killed. There was a teenager in Reading, Pennsylvania, who was stabbed by someone dressed as a clown. Okay, so this is where we're at now, but I want to backtrack. Okay, maybe at this point, I think I'll go a little bit into the conspiracy theory occult thing, that clowns are known to be occult figures, that they represent the demonic. And so it's kind of natural that looking at what's happening, some people would feel that maybe this is the influence of the demonic. But does this have any clear ties with any kind of organization or the occult? This is where John Wayne Gacy comes in. The American serial killer Gacy was known as the Killer Clown because he used to sometimes dress up as Patches the Clown. He didn't actually kill any people while dressed as a clown. Mostly what he did was he lured to his home teenagers who were working for his construction company and then killed them. John Wayne Gacy had murdered 33 people and was executed in 1994. So some people are saying this may have something to do with the anniversary of his death, 33 years later. However, this isn't actually 33 years later. That would be next year. And as you'll see, these clown attacks go back a few years, so it doesn't really add up with his death. He was not actually a Freemason, but he was a member of the Moose Lodge, which is a Freemason-like organization. Personally, I find it hard to believe, considering that most of the people doing these attacks are young. You know, younger, I mean, these are people who were born after Gacy was executed. They may not really even know very much about him. And most of Gacy's victims were young men. So it seems to me weird and illogical that young men aged 14 to 23 or so would be paying tribute to someone who had murdered young men before they were even born. You know, it seems a bit of a stretch. I mean, why? And as I trace back, you'll see that there's another more likely explanation. Okay, so now let's go back. Let's go way back to the beginning. How did this whole clown thing actually start? The first reports of a scary clown was in Northampton, England. A man was just sort of hanging around in this town dressed like a clown. He became a bit of a local icon / celebrity. Northampton clown unmasked. This is from the 13th of October 2013. So this goes way back to 2013. University student and budding filmmaker Alex Powell is face behind mask. So it turns out that the guy who was hanging around looking like a clown was a film student called Alex Powell, and he had been doing this with another guy who was somehow helping him, plus a third guy who was managing a Facebook page for them. And going back a bit even before that, to the 2nd of May 2013, Alex Powell had posted this short mockumentary called The Local Clown on YouTube. A little film, 14 minutes long. And it seems to me that as a kind of PR stunt for their little film, they started doing this thing of hanging around in the town with Alex dressed like a clown. And after it was over, it was like, okay, well, you know, no harm done. So that was it. The next time this was in the news, 2014, mysterious clowns terrorizing Californian city. This is October 13th, 2014. Teenagers in Bakersfield and around Bakersfield, California, had been terrorizing people with guns and machetes. One of these guys was arrested. The 14-year-old suspect, who wasn't armed, told police he was participating in a hoax he had seen online. So this event in Bakersfield, California was October 13th, 2014. Now let me show you what preceded that. This is a YouTube channel called DM Pranks Productions. Published May 11, 2014, Killer Clown Scare Prank. 50 million views. This was the original clown scare prank posted by this prank channel, where a clown is, you know, murdering people in a parking garage. Now, this is the first video in a series from this channel. June 15th, Killer Clown Returns Scare Prank from DM Productions, 75 million views. Here's another one, September 7th, Killer Clown 3, The Uncle Scare Prank, 90 million views. Well, actually almost 91 million views. That's a lot of views. Now you'll see that they started out doing just regular pranks, touching people, confusing people, putting hats on people. And a couple years ago, they did a zombie axe attack prank and then zombie axe murder prank. Now these got a lot of views, 7, nearly 8 million views. This one has over 11 million views. Now these guys aren't stupid. They realized what was working, you know, for their channel. And the next thing they did, a little while later, 2 years ago, Killer Clown Scare Prank. 50 million views. And from there, you can see there's a theme. Telekinetic Priest Attack Scare Prank, Devil's Daughter Scare Prank, more clowns, Ferocious Mutant Scare Prank. Basically, like, it's all horror scare pranks from then on. Well, there's one porn prank here too. But clearly, these guys could see what was getting them a lot of views. I mean, 25 million views, 50 million views, 75 million views, 90 million views. These guys are getting a lot of views. You see, you know, this was in 2014. So this was before this became a whole big thing. At some point, people started keeping track of this. 5 scariest clown sightings around the world from October 2015. Well, at this time, number 1 was the Northampton clown, the British guy, Alex Powell, who made the film. And on this list, the 5th one, is DM Pranks, who were at that time invited to go do pranks in Las Vegas. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is what it traces back to. That Alex Powell did the first clown video, clown stunt, And at some point, the guys at DM Pranks got the idea, hey, let's do the same thing. And this is what set it off, because it's only after this that you start to really see mostly, young people and teenagers, as in Bakersfield, California, 2014. That was after DM Pranks started doing it. And, it took a little time for this to catch on, but as I showed you at this point, 2016, this is happening all over the world, and it's gone from being just sort of real life prank, weird because nobody's filming it. It's not going to be anywhere. You're just doing it to just scare people, like I guess just for kicks. But you're just scaring people. It's gone from that to, real danger. People getting hurt, getting killed. There was even one where a knife-wielding clown tried to snatch my 3-month-old baby, says the terrified mom of 6. Also, this has become a big problem for schools. People are being arrested. Children are doing this, young children. In Ontario even, there were a couple that were arrested. They're making threats on Facebook. It's happening in different places. Well, people who are younger and younger are getting involved in doing these pranks, right? And I really don't think that this has anything to do with John Wayne Gacy or, the Freemasons or even the Moose Lodge or occultism, in any kind of direct way, as in that there's some group that's conspiring to make people do this. I think people are doing this in a lemming-like fashion, jumping on board with a trend with no regard to their own safety or how other people feel. Now, why would they do this? I think that, reality TV and YouTube is playing a role in shaping our culture and shaping how people behave. I think this has a lot to do with it. And I'm not blaming YouTube and DM Pranks. I mean, people have always had the potential for this. I, as someone who has been around for quite a while, I have seen this before. So let's go back 15 plus years to when Jackass was on TV. The Jackass show is the very early 2000s, maybe 2001. And what happened was kids were watching this and they started to replicate these pranks in real life. And there were actually a number of deaths associated with it. And you can see a list here, 10 moronic teens who were killed mimicking Jackass. Way back from 2002, pickup truck and a burning chair. 2002, hood riding. I mean, these were teenagers who died doing this. 2006, still, boy filmed his own death in Jackass bicycle stunt. There's a couple things here that I think are happening. For the same reason that kids will dress like their favorite pop star, or maybe even pick up the favorite pop star's bad habits. I think they'll see stuff on YouTube and they'll say, oh, hey, that looks like fun and I'm going to be cool because I'm going to do the same thing. Except that they sort of miss the context. Or maybe they just get a thrill. It's the anonymity of the costume. It just brings out the worst in people. A bit like the anonymity of the internet itself. And another thing is the role that reality TV and YouTube has done to shape society and to manipulate people. That reality TV, it's not really reality. But a lot of people don't realize that. When you're watching a regular movie, you really know. I mean, this is the movie and this is reality. But with reality TV, it sort of bridges. You're becoming like a voyeur looking into somebody else's life. Or you think so. You think you're looking into something real. It's not, though. It's staged. And sometimes it goes back the other way. That as they're watching this reality show, they start to feel like they're sort of part of that. Again, imitation, but it takes it to another level. And on a really, at the extreme, there's something even called like the Truman Syndrome or Truman Show Syndrome, where people feel like they are actually in a reality show. So like the reality show and the YouTube is sort of blurring the lines between entertainment and reality. And I think what's happening here is that people's sense of boundaries and morality is weakening. It's like, well, this is okay now. I've seen this as a prank and I can do this in real life. And that's very worrying. Really, what it comes down to is that people are, the lines between entertainment and reality are blurring. And people are starting to lose a sense of what's okay and where the limit is. And it's like, now if I film it, I'm a star too, right? Or maybe if I just do it, I don't even film it. But now I'm part of that. Like, and it's okay, I'm a star or I'm part of this thing. I want to belong, so I'm going to jump on board with this bandwagon. But when it's really going too far, it's really not okay. So there's a bit of a deterioration, you know, in people's sense of right and wrong. So I guess on that level, there really is something evil going on. There are people who will do, you know, rotten things. I mean, there are people who will go out and bully people and scare people with weapons without wearing a clown costume. So, you know, it's not like this problem doesn't exist. But for some people, it'll make them do things that they wouldn't normally do. But I think as parents, it's our role to raise our children to know that, you know, this is not okay. And you don't imitate what you see just to do it. And that there are some very real consequences in real life for imitating what you see on reality TV or in a video. By doing this, you're not being cool. You're following the crowd. You're jumping on the bandwagon. It's amazing how people think that they can be cool by being like everyone else. Because the coolest thing you can do is to actually be yourself. And so this is what I think it really is. It traces back to the trend for online pranks. And I hope it dies down before more people get hurt. So that's what I think is happening. I really do. So, you know, let me know what you think. And thanks for giving me a thumbs up. Thanks for leaving me your comments. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're a new subscriber or an old one, maybe also, I'd just like to let you know that I do upload a new video once a week, usually on Friday. So don't forget to check in. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me. And I'll see you next time.